We're going to be here preparing to go live. We are live. Hey, Lord TGIF, how you doing?
I'm doing great. It's Friday, and I know a lot of people are happy. I know the weather's a little cooler, but we're going to go back to that warm weather again soon. We have to be optimistic about everything. We are going to talk about a great subject today, different personalities. This is such an interesting thing for all of us because we don't really realize what our personality is until we really sit down and think about it. We always think about what other people think about us, but what do we think about ourselves? And we find out the better way that we know ourselves is the better way we could get along with other people. So, with that, Debbie, I'm going to have you start off and talk a little bit more about this.
So I'm real excited, Lori. We came up with this. If we, sometimes we come up with things off the cuff. Lori and I bounce ideas off of each other, and sometimes we've got weeks ahead planned, and sometimes we're scrambling. And this one came to mind for both of us, and we were like, let's jump on this because I feel like it's kind of apropos in our society right now. Because sometimes we're like thinking, why the heck did that family member, friend, coworker, spouse, significant other react to something the way they did, and we just don't see it that way, or we react completely different. Okay. And so I'm just going to share a little bit from something that I learned once before as I was reading a book, which I'm going to share. And then I know Lori has also researched there's not only one way of like looking at personalities, there's a couple different ways, and some companies do these things in there as a kind of a bonding, team bonding sometimes. I think a family, it's really, really a good idea. And some of the information that we're sharing right now, I'm going to actually share into the group after we're completed because Lori and I just did ourselves, we did a personality test. Okay. And we did it. And I did this a long time ago. And things can change a little bit in your personality. As you get older, they can change a little bit. But for the most part, it kind of stays the same. And I'm going to be referring from a book that's called Personality Plus, and it's written by Florence Littauer. And Florence Littauer is a powerful speaker and also writer. And the personality test is going to go through, and I'm just going to show you that there's two sheets of paper. The two sheets of paper, one, you're going to literally go through and you're going to take line by line, and you're going to actually check mark off the one characteristic in that complete line that you feel most applies to your own person. Okay. Once you complete all 40 of the line items, you're going to then turn around and transfer it onto a scoring sheet. And the reason they do this is it's all mixed up. You can't cheat. Okay. You really can't cheat. You have to be very honest. Okay. And it's a very simple assignment. Like I'll read the first line, which is pretty easy. Okay. The first one says, between these four, what do you feel most describes you? Adventurous, adaptable, or animated or analytical. And you make the little check mark. Okay. So when you're done with that, then you go line by line on the next sheet, and you're actually going to put it in there in what category. And the categories are going to have these four different categories of temperaments. And the temperaments are called this, okay? And I'll say the name and I'll tell you what it represents. If a person is called a sanguine, their basic desire is to have fun. Their emotional needs are that they love attention, affection, approval, anticipation, and charm controls them, okay? Now, a person who is choleric, their basic desire is to kind of have control. To their emotional needs are they like loyalty, sense of control, appreciation, credit for their work, and they're kind of controlled by anger though at times. Okay. A melancholy is somebody that may have the desire to be a perfectionist. Emotional needs are sensitivity, support, space, silence, and they're controlled by moods. Okay. And then a phlegmatic, which is kind of like a little bit more like laid back, easygoing, not so much goal orientated, will be they like peace. They want to be the peacemaker too, but they want their emotional needs are peace and quiet, feeling of worth, lack of stress, respect. And these are just kind of the things that they play out. It's kind of funny that we talked about the color yellow. Lori said it's a happy color. We said this a few weeks ago on something. And in the sanguine, who's like the popular party person, the color kind of is yellow. Okay, it's in the yellow in the top corner. The powerful person who is, the caloric is red, a strong color.
Right.
The blue, which is your OCD, melancholy kind of person who really, really, is goal orientated and wants to be organized, is blue. And then your green is your laid back, hey, easygoing, whatever kind of person, and is relaxed. They're reliable, but they're just, hey, go with the flow. And this is something that like can really be very significant in any setting, as we mentioned, we're saying, work, home, school, because you may not get why didn't they react the way that I felt like they should react? Why did they not, when I told them this significant situation, or did they react to a way that you felt was not really right? Why do they get so mad and get all freaked out over something where I feel like it's no big deal? Because the temperament plays in the way that people deal with everyday living and how they deal with different things. So I have a kind of clue, but I want to hear from Lori. Lori, what you took the test too? What happened when you took the test?
Well, it's really interesting because my life.
Oh wait, I'm sorry. Can I excuse you for a second? Can I just say something?
Go ahead.
I just want to say, like, because I think this is going to help too. Mine was melancholy being organized and all that kind of stuff, but then caloric being like the caloric one of, obviously just from what I just did, the way I act. So go ahead, Laura, take it over.
Oh, that's okay, Deb. It's Friday. You know
Yep.
how it is. It was interesting because I actually did this twice because this first time I forgot to download and print it. So, and it's interesting because I got almost the same answer. So that was good. I also hear, I got to be the gotta get this up over here. I'm the popular sanguine. How do you pronounce that again?
Sanguine, yes.
Oh, that makes sense. And I have I have emotional needs. I need attention. I need affection. I need approval. I need acceptance. And I'm controlled by charm. But it's interesting because my weakness is the powerful caloric, loyalty, sense of control, appreciation, credit for work, and is controlled by anger. But it's amazing because before when I was working and I didn't have my disability issues, I was more of a leader type of a personality. And I was more of, it's totally different. But now that I'm home and I have stuff, I'm like, I got a little bit of difference. So it does change.
Mm-hmm.
It does change as time goes by. So that'd be really interesting to keep doing it. And I just have to make a couple notes. I know that the ones that need approval, people that need approval, those are the ones you really want to get to know who they are, because then you could act different towards them. They might not, because they need approval. So you have to give them a little bit more affirmation, a little bit more saying, thank you, I really appreciate you. That's why it's really important for people to do the test in families.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, like Debbie said, not everybody thinks the same way as we do. We don't understand it sometimes, and we get our feelings hurt. Mm-hmm. So this is really important. And like another thing Debbie said was also for jobs. Team building is one of the most popular things to do with work now. They're finding out that the more that everybody understands each other more, the better it is. And, that's why a lot of companies do, well, they did before the pandemic, they would take their employees out for a night out, or they go to a game thing, because people will learn how to interact with each other. I just got to make a couple more statements, Debbie, then I'll bring it to you.
Yeah.
I remember years ago that my son went to retreat for church. He was in 9th grade. And he was scared to death to go because he thought different than everybody else. He went to this retreat and he found out that all the kids felt the same way about things. They all thought they didn't like each other, or people were making fun of them. That's really typical for teenagers, young teenagers. But this is the same point. Until we understand people's personalities, we can get along better with them. And then I just want to make another note is years ago, I don't know if everybody's ever taken the Myers-Briggs personality test. It's a very long test. It's given to a lot of jobs give those out. And also, I had a situation where I had to see a counselor because I was getting divorced and they wanted to know what my personality was. And you know what? It was really strange how it came out because there was things that I didn't realize I was that came out in the test. So these are great tests. And this is a great one that Debbie got. I'm gonna read this book and when I get done with this Zoom today, but there's a lot of tests out there and there's a
Mhm.
lot of things to read. And the thing is that we have to realize is that we're not all the same people. God made us for what we are, and we can't all be in a cookie cutter type of a situation. So the
Mhm.
more we know about ourselves, we understand how we react to other people, which will make relationships better. So with that, Debbie, I'm going to bring it on to you.
I love what you talked about, Lori, and it's so true. And you think back to, some of the significant situations, and I love how you pointed out, which I think is very valuable, that you actually can change a little bit in your personality. I think different significant things that happen to us changes the way we react to things. Some people are more sensitive because they've gone through so many stress trauma situations that may change some of those things and their viewpoints and the way they react to things. But I also want to say something crazy that I think that a lot of people are going to understand. Have you ever heard, of course, opposites attract? Okay,
Yes,
so opposites attract. Now, did you ever, anybody who has children or have siblings, okay, most of us have one or the other or both. Do you ever look at the different combinations? Like we'll say, oh, our oldest is more like my husband, our middle is more like me, and our third is more like both of us. Okay. So it's kind of like an intermixed kind of situation, Or could you look at a sibling and be like, wow, me and my sibling are pretty similar. We view things a lot alike. I bet you we are kind of the same personalities in some ways not. Then you marry someone or you date someone or you have a significant other or whatever, and maybe you plan to stay with them for quite some time. And that time that you spend with them, you realize that some of their characteristics rub off on you and some of your characteristics rub off on them. And I've seen it happen before in different people. And sometimes it actually can be, should I say, to the better, because hopefully some of those kind of things. And so I find it to be really interesting. I'm going to do this. I'm going to print out and actually have everybody do this. I think it'll be a fun exercise for a family to do, even when you're kind of thinking of what are we going to do, because maybe you can't go somewhere that you'd like to quite yet, that maybe hasn't opened up. And I think it would be a great way for people to maybe like have a little lesson in, let's be more patient, let's be patient with other people. Trust me, I am a person that I try to be as patient as I can, but I'm inside sometimes I'm just screaming. Okay, I'm screaming. I want to scream everywhere about it because they're not reacting the way I want them to or expect that they should. And this kind of brought me back to ground zero a little bit of like, okay, I need to kind of like remember these are basic principles, whether you want to follow this one or you want to follow another one. It really is not, doesn't matter. It's more of, the concept of what it is. And I think a lot of this is really tags on some of the things that we've discussed. But Lori and I've been so blessed. I know, Lori, I'm going to turn it to you in a second, but I just want to say we've been meeting so many different people that we've been interviewing, and each and every one of them have a different style of presenting. They have a different style of sharing with us certain things that we've been sharing with all of you guys that has helped us all in a journey of health and wellness. And everybody has a different approach and a different way of doing it. And we've learned, I have learned so much. And Lori and I talk about this all the time. We have learned so much from all
yeah.
these people, and we're ever so blessed with this. So with that, Laura, I want to turn it back to you. I know maybe you might want to mention what we're going to talk about next week, and anything else that you want to tag onto this.
Okay. I just want to mention one thing. This is what we did with my children, and I wish they were young again so we could do this. But we had a room with no TV in it, and we would go in that room and we just start discussing about something. And you know what? Wouldn't that be amazing if everybody did the test and started talking about without any interference of the TV, the telephone? So that's a good tip of the day. But next week, we have a great subject we want to talk about because we feel that everybody goes through it. And we're going to talk about grieving and how to handle grieving when somebody passes away or somebody is real sick, because it is an everyday thing that people deal with. And you know what? We all need to lean on each other and get ideas because, we're getting to that age where, well, like Debbie and I, we're getting to that age where, we're losing a lot of friends and our
Yeah.
parents, stuff like that. And I think it's a great subject. So please tell everybody to tune in. And if you have any questions, go ahead and make sure leave us a note and we'll be more than happy to answer it for you. So with that, Debbie, why don't you close us out for the day? Or do you have anything else you want to say?
I was just gonna say, Lori, thank you. I'm glad you said that. And grieving and loss, even
Yeah,
if it's a loss, it
yeah,
could, yeah, because we grieve if we lose, like, by divorce or by just separation, and it could be the person still might be living, but we don't have a relationship. So I think this was a really good one that Lori actually came up with, and I think that we can all relate to that and stuff. And so with that, I just want to say, guys, every day we have a new member. Every single day someone's joining our group. I've been tracking it, and we just want to thank everybody that has been part of this. We want to thank everybody who has been actively posting on here and that has actively taken a part in being part of our little family, should I say, of putting value into others, and helping people be, the best version of themselves. So friends helping friends is really, a fun thing. And we just want to say we're blessed and thank you so much and have a fabulous day. And we will be catching up with you. And we will see you on Wednesday. We have another interview on Wednesday. So talk to you soon, everybody.
Now, have a great weekend, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.